Hello, perceptive readers. Let me try this again. Um, the matrix calls every time. You know how they go. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Now, this is James Lynch, and the subject that I want to talk about it goes along with the process of judicial type cases. Okay, and what I'm emphasizing is I always look at, matters through really spiritual for this reason. Since God's thoughts are higher than our thoughts, okay, then we know the way that He has set up the judging of the earth and His people is nothing like what we could have came up with by ourselves. And I've also emphasized that the judicial laws of the land are made and based on, you see, still principles you can find right in God's word, the Bible. In fact, when the law covenant was made, the Ten Commandments, did you know that was the first time in history any type of legislation or laws of that nature and principles was ever placed down? I mean, the world, in one sense, it wasn't like cavemen, but it was still very much, you could look around the nations, very barbaric in the way that they treated one another. And no due process. You see what I'm saying? Not really in a lot of cases. Well, God's law, see, at the Ten Commandments and the Levitical priesthood, that's when God put into place. This is what you will do until, if the person is found guilty, then you enact some type of, punishment, whether it was whips, or whether it was some type of restraint, or what have you. You actually didn't enact any other types of punishments or what have you. You see what I'm saying? Until that person had their day in court. Now, let me emphasize something else. Even when persons went to the point of killing somebody by mistake, did you know they actually had city of refuge? So whatever mistake had happened, whether as the example in the Bible is, like some heavy metal axe or something like that just fell off while they were cutting trees or what have you, that somehow it struck the person and killed them, because things like that, it can happen. And you see what I'm saying? And I guess it could have happened even way back then. That's why we have so many safety type regulations today to protect against that. But all the same, whatever it was that this person became an involuntary manslayer, they had the chance to run to the city of refuge. And while they was in the city of refuge, they could still move around freely within the city of refuge, working and what have you. You see what I'm saying? Until their day in court with the judges, so to speak. And then when they went to the judges, you see what I'm saying? And if the judge found them that, no, this was not involuntary, no, this was planned, this was calculated, by them searching this involuntary manslayer through, see, because, God would make sure that they found out whether he was lying or not. Then, if it really was involuntary, that it was just because of a mistake, the swing of the axe and the metal fell off, whatever, guess what? Then they were not condemned. They still, I haven't looked this up in a while, but it still is my understanding that I do believe they still stayed in the city of refuge. That option was not only allowed, but I think encouraged because while they were still in the city of refuge, if any of the nearest relatives got upset and still wanted to take the life of that person who did these things involuntarily, guess what? If they went into that city of refuge and they did it, then they would end up being charged with murder. You see what I'm saying? And so it was like it was something that they just knew not to do. So that's why the person who committed any type of involuntary act where they, like I say, even took somebody's life, then they just stayed in the city of refuge and they made a life there, and they had to stay there till the high priest actually passed away, died, and then he could return back to his family, to his land, and things of that nature. They had several city of refuges. I forgot how many of them there were. I would have to look that up. Or that was near, to each tribe in that area, so that they could run any one of them. Okay, I'm mentioning this for a reason, because remember I told you before that even today, I told you everybody has to go through a due process. In other words, as a citizen, they are owed that, just even as a citizen. And let me emphasize again, the United States of America, they are owed that due process. It's something, even when, a person is arrested, they are what? They are read their rights. They also are able to request a lawyer, or are given a lawyer, or what have you. And that's what's more strongly recommended. But I'm telling you this for a reason, because what can happen at times when they go to their first arraignment or hearing before the judge, okay, the charges are laid out. And then when the charges are laid out against this person, then what comes up, next is, okay, what will be the bail? It's always asked. And this is one of those cases where I know I'm going a little bit to the side on this, but I just got to say, sometimes because of experience, you see, you just learn certain things at times with experience. See, it allows you to calculate very quickly, because you've seen it so many times in this way or that way, whether this person is really a flight risk or not. And see, and that's what factors into the bail, whether this person will be a flight risk or not. But see, something else that some judges may consider is, even whatever type of bail they place, do they still already have, like I told you, a mechanism in place that, hey, even if this person was a flight risk, that person wouldn't get 10 feet, you see what I'm saying, to the airport or what have you. Another way that they do that, when I say mechanisms, they use such things as what? Ankle bracelets, wrist bracelets. They have other things that they can use that's not even as obstruction. So the whole point is, today, the technology that we have, I'm telling you, you know what? You got to be a total mastermind with so many connections that a judge may still say, "Oh, this person can be a flight risk." But the point is, this is what I am going to say: if you're already a high-profile individual, okay, and see, this is what I mean about experience. There's a structure already in place, probably that, the high-profile individual would have a higher bail. But I can tell you right now, depending on, and see, this is where I told you the judge's discretion comes in at times, depending on the experience of the judge and what they have in place or what have you, you can find, and this is what I stand by, you can find one judge that would still deny bail in this way. And guess what? you will find another judge that would place bail. And so what am I telling you? What I'm telling you is I gave you that example about the way that God's thinking is on the matter in the first place. And then what I told you about as even the rights of a citizen. Why the citizen has the right to due process, because you know what? That still actually protects from persons just being thrown into jail and just held forever without charges and things of that nature. See, you just don't want to start down that road. I'm not saying the same thing. This is an extra thought. But I'm giving you this information. Hopefully it'll help some way in some of the cases that you have today. Take care.